Well, it's time for Palantir's earnings once again, and I suspect it will be fireworks. Palantir's earnings will give us insight into if the explosive growth can continue once again, or is it finally going to slow down? Now, we are clearly into overvalued territory, but have been coming back down closer and closer and closer to fair value. So, does Palantir have enough juice this earnings to make the valuation more reasonable and give us a chance to buy the stock? So, let's talk about exactly what I see happening, the three things I'm watching for specifically on earnings, my exact plan through everything, and also what I would do as a new investor in Palantir. I know a lot of you guys missed the boat the first time around. So, as a newer investor in Palantir, what exactly would you do? I'll talk about that as well. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth out the hype. That's exactly what you get today, guys. And that's exactly what this channel is all about. Now, as we have seen so far, earnings season is wild, right? Doesn't make much sense. And that has held true once again in the market. It's why I just buy according to my plan and avoid all the craziness around earnings, because a stock is never more manipulated than around earnings. I know that doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right. It seems like you can guess what the heck's going on earnings, which direction it's going to go. The reality is, guys, nobody freaking knows. But you can't simply ignore the earnings either, or just simply read the headlines that you get on CNBC or social media or wherever and move on. You have to dive into the numbers. You have to listen to the calls themselves. That's where you get the real deal on earnings. That's how you decipher hype from, something that's really all hype and going to come back down, or screaming steal deal, no brainer buy. They always seem like no brainers in hindsight, but in the moment, how the heck do you know that? You learn that through going through all the numbers and through the earnings calls themselves and ignoring all the noise. Not putting in that level of work is why so many people end up avoiding great companies like Palantir at $6, right? Or, you can go Google in the 100. You name it. That's the reason why people end up missing it, because of the narrative, not what was on earnings and not what the actual earnings data showed you. Earnings said one thing that told me, great company with Palantir. Keep buying it, keep gobbling up shares at these cheap prices. I have no idea what the heck's going on out there. Now, the media, YouTube, social media, CNBC, everyone were saying the exact opposite. So many folks didn't buy the stock at all during that time. Or if they did buy, they didn't really buy as much as they wanted to because of the narrative. And right now, Palantir has had back to back to back unbelievable earnings calls, and the stock has pretty much traded down in the aftermath about all that, right? It's pretty much down despite unreal earnings, guys. Top, 5, 10 all-time earnings calls we've had the past few times there. And the stock has essentially traded down during that time frame, especially after it kind of hit that peak there at 200. It's just basically, you pull up a 1-year chart, hasn't really done a whole lot of anything. Now, while everyone else is wondering what is wrong with Palantir, right? Because the stock just didn't keep running to infinity to the moon. The fundamentals told you it's going unbelievably well at Palantir so far. We'll see what this earnings has. And nothing is wrong with the company. But the stock ran out too far ahead of those fundamentals, which is why we have seen it stagnate for over that year now. So you got to track those fundamentals, guys. You have to. It is the key to investing and knowing when a stock is overvalued, like when we warned against Palantir when it was overvalued last year, especially when it was up over $200 and people were making predictions of $300 by the end of the year and $500 in 2 years and crazy stuff like that. We were saying, hey, guys, it's going to come back down, right? It's way overvalued. And on the flip side of that, you'll know when it's undervalued. Like when we were buying up shares anywhere from really $25, $30 all the way down to $6, right? That right there is exactly when we knew to buy because of those fundamentals, which Fiscal AI stock analyzer tool shows you all of that and every other metric you can think of. Guys, there's so much in there, it's impossible to keep up with. And you can chart it, graphic, do whatever the heck you want to do with it. And I'm giving you an almost $1,000 plan with Fiscal AI for free. Their top plan that they have, you get it for free for all of my annual group members, which the earnings flash sale ends soon, where you get that free tool. Plus, you get free coaching and 5 free courses on investing, on building wealth, valuation, tons of live streams, Q&As, live Q&As, 4 to 5 videos a week in there, so that don't ever go anywhere else. They're right there in the group, only for the group, and so much more. We'll talk more about it at the end, but it's a pinned comment for those interested to take advantage of that flash sale before the sale ends. And the price goes back up. So, all right, back on track here with Palantir. Palantir stock is just different than most other stocks in the stock market, but let's keep it simple. Let's break it down nice and easy. That right there is what we do on this channel anyways. Let's discuss the 3 things I'm watching for on this earnings call with Palantir. Then we'll talk about my plan and exactly what to do if you're a newer investor to Palantir, or you're just kind of stuck, right? You're in a spot right now with Palantir. You're not sure how to do that, how to buy this stock, given all the craziness around it. We'll cover that too. All right. But the first point is there any adjusted guidance this time? Seems like, at least in recent times, Alex is constantly adjusting guidance up. Every single earnings. It's like they had this unbelievable earnings call, and then, oh yeah, we're also going to raise guidance as well, right? They've had several new contracts come online this time, and of course, government contracts pay out whenever the heck they're going to pay out. Government, whatever the case is, and they also had several large contracts renew once again this quarter, which proves that the business model is super sticky. And at this stage, it will be very hard for customers, especially governments, to switch vendors to somebody else. Nobody else offers this anyway, so it would be useless for them to do it. But nonetheless, it shows you how sticky the product is. And once again, guys, don't get me started on the commercial versus government side of the business. I have no idea what the mix is. I have no idea what it will look like, and I don't care either, if I'm being honest. I heard it last earnings call. Shortly afterwards, people trying to nitpick the earnings call there and talking about the government versus commercial. And what does it mean? Guys, that is literally been on every single earnings call afterwards, no matter what the mix has been. Government growing, it hasn't mattered. Everybody complains about it. Seems like that's one of the largest complaints. Government grows. Oh, well, we'd like to see more commercial growth. This is definitely concerning. They're, leaning too much on government. Oh, commercial growth slows. Well, now we see the government isn't growing at the same pace. So that's a problem for the company now. I mean, cure cancer, and I'm sure there will be somebody out there with a problem with it. That's just the reality with the stock, guys. You got to learn to deal with this sort of stuff. That's part of the reason why I ignore all the narratives and I'll pay attention to them. If I didn't have this channel, and especially if I didn't have my group, I'd have no clue, because I don't listen to it, because it's just silliness like that. As long as they guide to more growth in the number of contracts, revenue, whatever the heck they want to increase guidance on, I'm not going to put any stock into whether it's commercial or government or whatever the case is. I want growth overall. And that's what I'm looking at overall, is, are we going to see growth or not? But you're going to see the CNBC folks and other, quote unquote experts out there discussing these points as if it really freaking matters. And the reality is, it doesn't. They have been crushing earnings to such a ridiculous level that a ridiculous raise in guidance isn't off the table either, because everything has just been ridiculous so far. So none of that would surprise me. And if that happens, Palantir could be sitting close to fair value right now if we get good enough guidance, and prime for another run. Not saying it will, just saying it definitely would be a good precursor for the next leg up in the stock. But we won't know any of that until we get those numbers, if we get adjusted guidance. So that right there is the first one. The second thing I'm looking at is, what, if any, is the impact of all the geopolitical mess out there, right? Obviously, we have this giant growth engine roaring, a lot of other companies roaring, and then we had, all the geopolitical mess that's popped off here really in the past, 6-8 months. Whatever the case is, put a lot of companies in a holding pattern with a lot of different spend. Obviously, we had huge AI boom in spending. People are pulling back on that. What are they going to do? There's a lot of other things like that. But on the flip side, as this all drags on, getting more efficient was kind of put in people's faces, right? Obviously you had the trade war with all the tariff stuff, and it's kind of on again, off again, on again, off again. The best way to do that is to get more efficient during time periods like this, especially businesses that are disproportionately affected by all the mess that's out there. So that could be a boom for Palantir, and an acceleration in some areas that maybe otherwise wouldn't have seen it, or maybe they would have taken more time to accelerate. But because they just know, hey, we don't know what the heck's going to happen out there, we just know we need to get better internally. That right there is where Palantir steps in and really makes a massive difference. And of course, maybe it's just business as usual, because according to Alex, they have way more demand than supply. So even if some folks drop off because of everything going on, the best spot to be in is having more demand than supply overall. But that's going to get tested this quarter, to say the least. So that is something I'm absolutely watching, because if it does affect the business negatively, it means the way more demand than supply claims might have been a little bit optimistic. I don't think that's the case, but it is something I'm watching closely to make sure that part of my bull thesis for the stock stays intact. Part of that keeps it that way, so that way the stock can continue to move forward. And the third thing I'm looking for is, will growth continue to accelerate? Now, I know that seems ridiculous because it just keeps accelerating, but that's one of the biggest reasons for this run to keep going and to stay ahead of the great fundamentals. Matter of fact, it's the only reason that it can do that. Obviously, it's been going in the opposite direction there, but it's the only way that that can happen. However, when valuations get this stretched, the only thing that keeps those style runs going is increasing growth rates that are already incredible for Palantir, which, as we have seen, still can't keep running and can't keep going up forever. But if that growth stalls or stagnates in terms of the growth rate itself, which will happen as no company in the history of the world has just continued to increase growth rates quarter over quarter, quarter in, quarter out forever. Guys, it's impossible. It's just a law of numbers. That's impossible. So when it slows down, the stock may finally come back to those fundamentals. Obviously, I hope it shoots to the downside further so that way we can start buying again. But nonetheless, it will fall back down to those fundamentals and it will happen. And a slowing of the growth rate can be the catalyst that sends it there ultimately. So what do I think happens on this earnings call? Well, I think Palantir beats on revenue, beats on EPS, increases cash flow once again, and of course, adjusts guidance in some way. That's been the drumbeat here for a while. I have no reason to doubt Alex and this team at this time. Even if they only hit, 2 or 3 of the 4 there, that's still an incredible earnings call. I'm not concerned at all. So barring a one-time charge of some sort or something like that kind of lowers those numbers, that right there is what I think is going to happen with Alex and the team and what they're doing over there. And I do think they adjust guidance once again, like I said, but let's see how much they adjust. So what am I doing personally? And what would I do as a newer investor? All right, so let's discuss the price of Palantir and all the noise around it everywhere. It seems like I can't avoid it and I stay completely out of it. And I hate these types of discussions, but let's address it anyways. So many folks are making 337 different price predictions per day and crazy stuff like that on all stocks, not just Palantir. This is kind of across the board there, telling me, and then I have other folks telling me what predictions I've made or I haven't made in regards to Palantir. And it's kind of funny. I don't make those type price projections. I don't sit there and go, well, in 5 years, I think Palantir will be $300. It's not something that I do because I know I can't guide out for further than a year or 2 max. All I can do is take management's guidance and apply it to the fundamentals and see where that stock price, where fair value would be during that time. It's all that I can do. That's simply it. So any of these other price predictions where I was telling you to buy, to sell, other things of that nature, it's not something that I do. I've only said what price I want to buy more shares at as I have a full position, plus bonus shares upon bonus shares upon bonus shares. And I'm not trying to build out a position. I already have one. Now, I understand if you don't have a position built out yet, we'll discuss that here in just a second, exactly how to do that and exactly what I would do at least in that situation. But I have no idea how anyone can keep up with all this guesswork, much less make an effective plan to execute to with all these different crazy buy this, sell that, move into this, move out of that. Palantir's going here, now it's going there. All these other things of that nature. It's just not something that I do. So why would I bother with it either, guys? So I'm just not. I got a bull and bear case there in my group that basically just takes the guidance that Palantir gives me, uses that to look forward and kind of see, hey, what would fair value be at that point in time? Because that's right, there's the best I can do based upon their guidance, based upon what they told me. And then at that stage, right there is where I think the fair value is in a couple of years. And that's it. And I make my buying decisions based upon my plan, my goals, and everything else accordingly. I know many of you guys hate that I say it over and over and over again, but planning and having price targets is the key to investing. So I'm simply sitting back, watching the numbers, then watching what Wall Street does. But more importantly, I'm looking to see if the adjustments to guidance, if we get them, and of course, obviously the numbers that come in as well, EPS and everything else. So I know exactly how overvalued Palantir is, or I'll know, are we finally coming back into kind of that fair value range if we get great numbers and we get kind of simultaneously a good Wall Street beatdown as well? Then I'll know that. I'll know exactly where I'm sitting there based upon that valuation, based upon those fundamentals. Palantir seems to have unlimited demand, growth rates accelerating, and other positive things that tell me the valuation will continue to come down based on performance if the stock doesn't really run up. But that doesn't mean Wall Street can't keep pumping it up either to keep it solidly in overvalued territory. So for me, if we get increased guidance, that will give me an increased price target. The question is, how much will that guidance? And obviously that will dictate the answer. So what do you do if you are looking to build out a position in Palantir? You don't own any, or you just own some, but you want to own more. You see how great of a company it is, and you want to build that out. How the heck do you do that? Well, if you're looking to build out a position, and this is exactly what I would do, then obviously your plan will need to be very different than mine is right now, okay? So I'm talking about what I would do if I didn't own any, but if you're in my spot right now, totally different, okay? So that's why following others is so dangerous, all right? Because in my situation, in real life here, with price targets and everything else I want to buy, only reflects my situation, my conviction in the stock, right? My risk tolerance, my plan, my portfolio makeup, and on and on and on. And the fact that I don't need any more shares. I bought tons. We got 3 years to buy Palantir on a significant discount. So, and I did. I bought it all 3 of those years. There was no backing down on the buys during that time. So it basically can't reflect yours if you're new to the stock. That's why following others is so dangerous. Not just me, anybody out there, doesn't matter, because all those factors don't matter. But if I was starting out today, like I've been saying for years on this channel with any stock that I cover. But if I was starting today, I would simply DCA over the next few years. It is statistically hard to beat, really, really hard to beat over the long run. Then it doesn't matter what the price does. You were buying, right? Look at what your average would be if you had done that the previous 3 years, despite it being on, super discount for a while there. And of course, all the way up to 200, right? And then back down now. Think about where you'd be at if you just simply DCA'd during that time. And more importantly, I'm not even going all the way back to when we had stupid cheap shares down 6, 7, back down in that range. I'm talking about just the past 3 years. But more importantly, how many shares would you have of this stock? Okay. The answer is a lot, because share count is what matters. And yes, you can use price targets and do a modified DCA, but you have to have done full due diligence, done a valuation, and everything involved to do that. Have a great strategy, have a great plan, and everything else. If you're simply looking for price targets from others to do that, don't do that, guys. You're just better off DCAing until you get really, really good at creating your own targets and doing it all on your own, guys. That's the truth without the hype. And if you want to get serious about getting that alpha so you can have a full position in Palantir with an average in the single digits like I did, or other great stocks, and you want to work directly with me and get your almost $1,000 free fiscal AI plan, take advantage of the earnings flash sale that ends very soon, guys, and the price goes back, or where you get all that, plus free courses, free coaching, the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there, live streams, live Q&As. Guys, there's so much involved in the membership. Check out the pinned comment, see if a membership's right for you before the price goes back up. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market, and click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.